New Zealand is a small island country in the South Pacific. It lies to the southeast of Australia. It is made up of two islands, the Northern and Southern Island. New Zealand is slightly larger than Great Britain and has significantly less people. The current population of New Zealand is 4,399,945 people. And of those people, 73% are British descent, 11 to 12% are Maori descent, and the remaining are other minorities. The Maori people are the indigenous group of New Zealand that have inhabited the land since the 12th century AD. Land ownership has always been a debate in New Zealand, even before the arrival of Europeans. The Maori tribes fought with each other over the land, resources, women, and for the hell of it. Whatever tribe won got the land and pride. The losing tribe was forced to obtain undesirable land elsewhere. Maoris fought each other with short and long clubs called tahias and patus. They are most famously known for their haka, an aggressive tribal dance that the New Zealand blacks have made widely popular today. Maoris are often seen as an aggressive group of people. (1818) is what is considered as the start of the Musket Wars. The Musket Wars were entirely between the Maori tribes and took place all over New Zealand. Europeans, more specifically Great Britain, colonized New Zealand, and with them they brought their modern artillery. The introduction of muskets changed the face of tribal warfare for the worst. At first, European muskets weren't a big hit among the Maoris, and were in fact relatively slow and unreliable. But as time went on, they became more and more popular. Eventually, Maori, in contact with Europeans, grabbed as many guns as they could and killed as many of each other as they could. After all the fighting was over, many Maoris left their native lands, leaving them open for European settlement. From 1818 until 1830, over 20,000 Maori people were killed. On a per capita basis, the number of Maori deaths is equivalent to the 200,000 deaths during World War II. Thousands of Maoris became enslaved or refugees, and many more died of European disease. The 19th century wars changed New Zealand the most. Between 1840 and 1870, a series of wars took place between the British colonial forces against the Maoris to open up the rest of the Northern Island. This is because over time the Maoris became more reluctant to sell land only to the British government as the European population grew rapidly. The Treaty of Waitangi is New Zealand's founding document. It was put together in a few days in the February of 1840. Copies of it were written and signed in both English and the Maori language. Over 500 Maori tribe leaders from all over New Zealand signed the document, and the British declared that the treaty would stand for all tribes, including those who had not signed. Because it is written in two languages, Maori leaders signed the treaty with a different understanding than the British had. Maori gave the Crown an exclusive right to buy the lands they wished to sell, and in return, they were granted full rights of ownership of their lands, forests, fisheries, and other possessions, and that the Maori would have the rights and privileges of the British subjects. Even the Bishop of New Zealand says, "My advice to the natives in all parts of New Zealand has always been to sell all the land which they are not able to occupy or cultivate. I had two reasons for this. First, to avoid continental jealousies between the races, and secondly, to bring the native population within narrower limits in order that religion, law, education, and civilization might be brought to bear more effectually upon them. We cannot doubt the sincerity and purity of intention of the bishop in giving this advice. but we may question its soundness and expediency upon his own shewing.
The British wanted as much fertile land as they could get from the Maoris, and with the Treaty of Waitangi, they were guaranteed it. As time passed, the Maoris became more and more reluctant of settling their land. This is because from their understanding, the Europeans had not followed through on their part of the treaty. Because neither side was willing to make compromise, debates of who should rightfully own the land resurfaced. In conclusion, the land should have been identified as Maori property. This is because many historians feel that the British played the Maori people into giving them desirable land at a low cost, with little in return.